On December 31st, the Dallas Cowboys' reign as world champions ended. The decisive 26-3 loss to the Washington Redskins was a sobering end to this sweet and sour season. But the Dallas Cowboys had much to be proud of. They had worn their crown well and had upheld their tradition of excellence. Although nagged by injury since training camp and battered and battle-worn through 14 league games, they had fought the good fight in this season of challenge. In 1972, every effort by the Cowboys was channeled toward repeating as Super Bowl champions. But there were some disturbing early omens for head coach Tom Landry. First, his all-pro defender Bob Lilly was hobbled by injury. And then his quarterback, Roger Staubach, was lost for 8 weeks with a shoulder separation. But behind Staubach, there was talented Craig Morton to lead the offense. And if they faltered, there was a veteran defense that had paved the way to both trips to Super Sunday. So with arms, legs, and bodies primed, Dallas began the 1972 season. First came the Eagles, and the defense, led by Cliff Harris, held them to 6 points. The offense was superbly generaled by Craig Morton, who threw 2 touchdown passes, one to new Cowboy Ron Sellers, and another to Lance Alworth, as Dallas won handily, 28-6. In New York, the Doomsday defense throttled the Giants. Particularly effective were ends Larry Cole and Pat Toomey, as Dallas won again, 23-14. In Green Bay, it was the Packer defense that squelched the 2-game victory streak. When the dust settled, the Pack edged past Dallas, 16-13. Against the Steelers, the Cowboys' defense took wing. Linebackers Chuck Howley and D.D. Lewis flew in on blitzes. And when Terry Bradshaw passed, Cornell Green soared high at the sidelines. Running back Calvin Hill threw for 1 touchdown and hurdled his way to another as Dallas gained a hard-earned 17-13 victory. Week number 5 brought a Sunday in Baltimore, and tackle Jethro Pugh was determined to dress every Colt in uniform number 75. After weeks of idleness, Roger Staubach warmed up his sore shoulder and watched Craig Morton demolish the famed Baltimore zone. Victory number 4 was a 40-man win as Dallas shut out the Colts, 21-0. The next week in Washington, Tom Landry's Cowboys met the rival Redskins. Both teams have an abiding dislike for each other, but it was Dallas that gained the upper hand swiftly. Twice the Cowboys attained 13-point leads, but twice the resilient Redskins rallied on the hands and legs of Larry Brown, number 43. The 24-20 defeat brought the Cowboys' record to a disappointing 4-2. But the loss could not dim the glow of many bright young bodies who would be Cowboys starters in the future. On defense, there was a tough linebacker named D.D. Lewis. And there was Tody Smith, number 85, a quick, strong, and very mean defensive end. Summer trades brought two gifted receivers in Ron Sellers, number 88, and Billy Parks, number 21, to complement Lance Allworth and Bobby Hayes. Parks possesses incredibly soft hands and is a brilliant pattern receiver who expertly infiltrates zone defenses. As one scout said, if Parks had sprinter speed, he would have to be outlawed. Sellers at 6'4" and 188 pounds is rail thin but lethal. A legitimate game breaker who caught 5 touchdowns in 1972. From the draft came punter Marv Bateman and baby-faced running back Robert Newhouse. Built like a bowling ball, Newhouse's style is a series of collisions, spins, and dives. So with a 4-2 record and an abundance of budding talent, the Dallas Cowboys bit into the meat of their schedule. First came the Detroit Lions on Monday night, and Craig Morton sprayed touchdowns all over Texas Stadium. It was a night for new faces as Billy Parks and Mike Montgomery, number 23, both obtained from the Chargers, bore out the wisdom of cowboy trades. Montgomery pranced for 2 touchdowns, and Dallas won, 28-24. Montgomery returned home to San Diego the next week, and his recovery of a fumble punt signaled a 34-28 victory. Back home in Dallas against St. Louis, Jethro Pugh roared out of the starting blocks, while Dave Edwards, Leroy Jordan, and Bob Lilly stacked up Cardinals like cordwood. Charlie Waters, number 41, a freshly minted cornerback, shored up the secondary and bolted to a touchdown. On offense, the Cowboys' double-edged sword of passing and running combined for 33 points. After 3 straight victories, Dallas won a trip to Philadelphia. In the cradle of liberty, Craig Morton first connected with rookie Gene Fugit, who shared tight end with Mike Ditka and Billy Truax. Then he found old pro Walt Garrison as the Cowboys' offense rang up 28 points. Defensively, Dallas tore apart the Eagles' pocket and made mincemeat of quarterback Pete Lisk. Hounded and harassed, Lisk responded feebly. 9 times the front 4 sacked him and his replacement, John Reeves. By game's end, the Eagles' attack was reduced to a whimper, as Dallas opened up the floodgates to win their fourth straight, 28-7. But underscoring the Cowboys' surge were some distressing facts. In 4 of their last 5 games, they had given up 100 points, almost all of them in the second half. In effect, they had become 30-minute champions. It started in Washington when the Cowboys squandered a 13-point lead in the second half and lost. Against Detroit, Dallas saw the Lions transform a rout into a 28-24 squeaker that wasn't decided until the final seconds. The following week, the Chargers, behind 31-0, scored 4 touchdowns in just 16 minutes. The St. Louis Cardinals trailed Dallas 17-0 until their bombs began to land in the second half of their 33-24 loss to the Cowboys. Finally, these Jekyll and Hyde performances caught up to the Cowboys when they met the 49ers. After 5 weeks of playing Russian roulette, Dallas found out that San Francisco came with every chamber loaded. Dick Nolan saw Dallas explode early into the lead. But in the second half, the Cowboys buckled and they were bludgeoned as San Francisco won 31-10. Week number 12 brought a rematch with St. Louis. Dallas was led by Calvin Hill, who homed in on his first 1,000-yard season. Behind the blocking of All-Pro John Nyland, number 76, Hill poured into the Cardinal Mixmaster 25 times. Behind All-Pro Rayfield Wright, Dave Manders, Ralph Neely, and Blaine Nye, Hill rushed 120 yards near those 1,000 yards. While Hill gained all the yards, Walt Garrison scored all the Cowboy touchdowns. Three times, Garrison butted and squirmed across the St. Louis goal, and Dallas won 27-6. Sporting a 10-3 record, Dallas sought a playoff berth in a grudge match with the hated first-place Redskins. On defense, Chuck Howley came by air, while Leroy Jordan came by land. In the secondary, Mel Renfro glided in expert pursuit. Dallas was simply devastating and exacted a sweet measure of revenge on Washington. Calvin Hill gained his 1,000 yards and scored the first 2 Cowboy touchdowns. Hill's running mate, Walt Garrison, had his best day ever by rushing for 121 yards on just 10 carries. Dallas' last touchdown was scored by Craig Morton, who wanted 6 points so badly he ignored wide-open receivers. victory with vengeance assured the Dallas Cowboys a playoff berth for the 7th straight year. In 1972, Dallas ran to win, and there were few pairs the equal of Walt Garrison and Calvin Hill. Hill gained 1,000 yards the hard way by time and again offering up his big body to the meat grinder, accumulating a few yards and a few more bruises at a time. Running snug behind a matchless offensive line, Hill parlayed the power sweep into 6 touchdowns in 1972. Side by side with Hill was Walt Garrison, who gained nearly 800 yards by never knowing how to quit. In all of pro football, there is no one guttier, no one who gives more to the game than this real-life cowboy. After 14 bruising weeks, the Dallas Cowboys entered the playoffs. At Candlestick Park, Dallas met the 49ers, a team they had defeated the last 2 years for the NFC Championship. But in regular season, San Francisco stunned them 31-10, and they maintained that momentum when Vic Washington returned the opening kickoff 97 yards. The 49ers built up an early 15-point lead until Craig Morton's touchdown pass to Lance Allworth cut the margin to 21-13 at the half. But in the dying moments of the third quarter, San Francisco built back those 15 points and led 28-13. Then Tom Landry made an agonizing decision. He replaced the luckless Morton with willing but rusty Roger Staubach. Since returning from his shoulder separation in the 5th week, Roger had done little but watch Morton guide Dallas into the playoffs. Staubach wanted to play badly, but he realized the masterful feats Morton had achieved in his absence. When he got to play in the waning minutes of a game, he relied more on his trusty sea legs than his arm. At times, his throws were crisp, but many were woefully misguided. Now, with their chances shortened to the nub, the Cowboys trotted out their last hope. But Staubach sharpened that nub and revived the Cowboys' flagging hopes for victory. With 5 minutes gone in the last period, Staubach's generalship and Hill's 48-yard run set up a Tony Fritsch field goal that cut the lead to 28-16. With only 2 minutes left and the score still 28-16, Staubach drove Dallas to a touchdown with 2 perfect passes to Billy Parks. Now the score was 28-23, but with 80 seconds remaining, the Cowboys needed an onside kick. Tony Fritsch's behind-the-back kick bounced off Preston Riley and was covered by sure-handed Mel Renfro. With Dallas standing square on the 50-yard line, Tom Landry sent in a play which was translated by Staubach into a daring 21-yard scramble. The Cowboys had reached the 49er 29. 63 seconds remained. Both Staubach and Parks read the zone correctly, and Dallas was on the 10-yard line with 56 seconds left. After this amazing sequence of miracles, Roger reached back for one more and struck Ron Sellers dead in the hands with the winning touchdown. It was a glorious victory. Even the loss 1 week later in the NFC Championship could not dampen their achievements. Dallas had traveled further than many had expected. And next year, with a 40-man roster brimming with talent and experience, the Dallas Cowboys will be ready for a new season of challenge.